Now to a Fox 23 investigation about a woman terrified her ex-husband was going to kill her, and police think he almost did.
Tulsa's investigative reporter Janna talked to her. She wants women to protect themselves and be aware of some early signs she says she missed.
Here's part one of Janna's investigation, running for her life.
In the summer of 2021, Victoria Colbash was looking for love on a dating app.
He treated me like a queen.
When Victoria swiped right, there he was, the retired Navy chief and divorced dad of two, Richard Phillips. When you first met him, what did you think about him?
I thought I finally had it right. He was a retired Navy chief, was in the military for 23 years, has beautiful children, beautiful family, fell in love with all of them.
You thought you found a good one.
I thought I found the right one.
When Victoria thinks about it now, she can't believe this is her story to tell.
It is so twisted and complex. It's just, I've never in my life been in a situation like this.
After a year of dating, Victoria married Richard. When did you know something was not right?
Shortly after we got married, lies were coming. I was catching small lies, mostly financial lies.
When did things get really bad?
In May of last summer, I found what I suspected to be true in the financial aspect of his lies. And I had told him that if I find out these things were true, it's over. I can't live with a liar.
They were living on a houseboat on Lake Eufaula. When Victoria told him she was leaving, she says he wouldn't let her.
I did try to leave. He got physical with me and brought me back to the boat.
He physically grabbed you?
Yes.
Had he ever been violent or anything like that during your relationship?
No. So he took my phone, my keys, my money, everything.
By taking all your things, you think he was trying to control you?
Absolutely. I finally got away the next day by grabbing my laptop while he was taking a shower and running down to a dockmate and messaging some friends.
That was July of 2023. Victoria made it to Norman and stayed with a friend.
At that point, I was scared.
A month later, the court agreed for Victoria, along with a friend, to meet Richard at a storage unit so she could get her things.
Richard showed up, spun gravel all over us, came in acting like a maniac, cussing.
Victoria says that's when Richard picked up a shotgun.
He picks up one of the guns and he starts racking it. And then he leans over where the ammunition is.
When he was getting the gun, what were you thinking?
He's going to hurt me. He's going to hurt us.
Victoria says she and her friend took off, but Richard followed them in his truck.
When I went to get my car, my tires were slashed.
She called police and made a report. It took 3 months, but by November, there was a warrant out for Richard's arrest. Pittsburgh County charged him with domestic violence, an assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, for throwing gravel on Victoria with force, and for pumping a shotgun and reaching for ammunition with force and violence. But Richard was never arrested. By December 2023, Victoria says Richard made a heartfelt plea to get Victoria back in his life.
He's in therapy. He's doing so much better. He misses me, blah, 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 blah. So I just told him I would move back to Eufaula in my own place, and we can do marriage counseling if he'd continue his therapy and go to church.
Victoria says she soon found out he was lying to her again.
He had hacked all my social media accounts and my email accounts.
Victoria says Richard started using her accounts, pretending to be her.
He was contacting family and friends, saying and portraying me to be me and saying horrible things and causing great conflict in my life.
And knowing he was saying all these awful things to your friends and family about you, how did that make you feel?
Oh, he had already beaten me down the last 18 months. I'd already felt helpless, hopeless, worthless, really.
Then Victoria drew a line in the sand. On January 26th, she told Richard it was over. A few weeks later, he showed up at her door and said he wanted to return the rest of her things.
He closed the door behind him and he said, for the next 5 hours, you're going to be my wife. And he locked the door. And I tried to go push past him. And I told him, I said, no, that's not going to happen. And I tried to get out the front door. And he threw me into the love seat, put a gun to the back of my head, and told me that I would do what he said, or he would blow his head off. And for the next 5 hours, he sat there and berated me and belittled me and Told me what an awful person I was.
Victoria says after hours of terrorizing her, Richard eventually left.
And he told me not to call the cops because he had lived a good life and he's going to go to the boat and kill himself.
Victoria locked the door and called police. The Eufaula Police Department put out this announcement to look out for Richard. They believed he was armed and dangerous. Police searched all over, especially around the Lake Eufaula Marina.
His truck was there and they knew he was there.
But for 5 days, police could not find Richard.
They searched all the boats everywhere.
Was it during that time that we had it on Fox 23 News?
Yes.
In a Fox 23 crime alert, the Eufaula Police Department is warning the public to be on the lookout for a man they believe is armed and dangerous. This is 58-year-old Richard Phillips. Eufaula police say they have an open, of all things, domestic violence investigation on him.
Would police find Richard before he came back for Victoria? Coming up Thursday, Victoria runs for her life.
I fled to Missouri.
And what do you think he would do if he found you?
Next story you'd be doing is a report on how he got me and killed me.
See the second part of Running for Her Life, Thursday at 5. Covering news that matters. Janna Clark, Fox 23 News.
Wow. And in that second part, Victoria explains how she feels one local court let her down and even put her life in danger.
Plus, she has an important warning she wants to share with other women who might be in abusive situations right now.
So again, that's coming up in the conclusion of Janna's Fox 23 investigation, Running for Her Life, Thursday at 5.
Do you have a tip or issue that you think Janna Clark should investigate? Let us know. Email FOX23 Investigates at fox23.com or call 918-388-5354 or search Fox 23 Janna Clark on Facebook.